Imagine this. You are driving home from work on a Tuesday evening. You see blue lights flashing in your rearview mirror. Your heart skips a beat. You pull over to the side of the road. You know you haven't done anything wrong, but there is one thing on your mind. You have a legal firearm in your glove compartment. The officer walks up to your window. He shines his flashlight in your eyes. And then he asks the question that makes your palms sweat. Do you have any weapons in the vehicle? And if you say yes, can he demand to see it? Can he take it from you right then and there? Most people think they know the answer, but most people are wrong. And getting this wrong can land you in jail or worse. I am Sarah, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I am going to teach you exactly how to handle this situation. I am going to give you 5 tips that could save your life and your freedom. But first, we need to understand why this matters. Police encounters are high-stress situations. Adrenaline is pumping on both sides. One wrong move or one wrong word can escalate things instantly. Let me tell you about a guy named Bob. Bob is a regular guy, just like you and me. He has a clean record. He has a concealed carry permit. He follows the rules. One night, Bob was driving home from the grocery store. He had a broken taillight, but he didn't know it. A police officer pulled him over. Bob did what he thought was right. He rolled down the window. He put his hands on the steering wheel. The officer walked up and asked for his license and registration. Bob reached for his wallet, which was in his back pocket. As he leaned forward, his jacket rode up. The officer saw the grip of a pistol tucked into Bob's waistband. The officer yelled, "Gun!" He drew his service weapon and pointed it right at Bob. Bob panicked. He tried to explain, "I have a permit." He tried to raise his hands, but the situation was already out of control. Thankfully, Bob survived that night. But he ended up in handcuffs, face down on the pavement. His gun was seized, and he spent thousands of dollars on legal fees to clear his name. Bob made a few critical mistakes, not because he is a criminal, but because he didn't know the rules of engagement. So let's break down exactly what Bob should have done. This brings us to tip number 1. Know your state's duty to inform laws. In the United States, laws vary by state. In some states, you must immediately tell the officer you have a gun, the moment he walks up to the window. It is mandatory. In other states, you only have to tell him if he asks you directly. And in some places, you don't have to say anything at all, unless you are being detained for a gun-related crime. But here's the attorney advice that works everywhere. It is almost always better to be upfront, but carefully. If you are in a duty-to-inform state and you stay silent, you are breaking the law. If you are not in a duty-to-inform state, surprise is your enemy. Police officers hate surprises. If an officer sees a gun he didn't know about, he assumes the worst. So, if you are carrying, consider calmly informing him right away, but do it with your hands visible. Say, "Officer, I have a permit and I am carrying today." This leads us to tip number 2. Never, ever use the word gun alone. Think about it. If you shout, "I have a gun," what does the officer hear? He hears a threat. He hears gun. His training kicks in. Instead, change your vocabulary. Use the word firearm, or use the word weapon, or say, "I have a concealed carry license." These words sound professional. They sound responsible. They lower the temperature instead of raising it. Now, let's go back to Bob. Remember when Bob reached for his wallet? That was his biggest mistake. This is tip number 3. Do not move your hands until told to do so. When you tell an officer you have a firearm, stop moving. Keep your hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. If it is nighttime, turn on your interior dome light before he approaches. Make yourself fully visible. When he asks for your license, do not just reach for it. Tell him where it is first. Say, "Officer, my wallet is in my back pocket. My firearm is on my right hip. How would you like me to proceed?" Let him call the shots. Let him tell you to move slowly. This puts him in control. And when a cop feels in control, he feels safe. And when he feels safe, you are safe. Now, suppose the officer asks to see the weapon. He says, "Let me see the gun for a second." Or, "I need to take the gun for officer safety." This is tip number 4. Never touch the firearm yourself. This is a trap. If you reach for your gun to hand it to him, you are reaching for a gun in front of a cop. That looks exactly like you are about to shoot. If he asks to see it, say this clearly. "Officer, I do not want to touch the weapon. I am happy to step out of the car so you can retrieve it safely." Let him take it off you. Do not pull it out. Do not try to unholster it to show him it is unloaded. Just don't touch it. Finally, let's talk about what happens if he wants to search your whole car. Maybe he took your gun for safety. Now he wants to look in the trunk. He asks, "Since you have a gun, you don't mind if I look around, do you?" This is tip number 5. Having a gun is not probable cause for a search. Just because you have a legal firearm does not mean you lose your Fourth Amendment rights. The Supreme Court is clear on this. Carrying a weapon legally is not a crime. It does not give them a free pass to tear your car apart. If he asks to search, be polite but firm. Say, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." He might search anyway. He might say he smells something. He might say he has probable cause. Do not fight him on the side of the road. Let him do it, but make it clear verbally that you do not consent. This is for the courtroom later. If you consent, you can never challenge the search in court. If you refuse and he searches illegally, your lawyer can get that evidence thrown out. So, let's recap. Let's rewrite Bob's story. Bob gets pulled over. He turns on the dome light. He puts his hands on the wheel. The officer walks up. Bob says, "Good evening, officer. I have a concealed carry permit and I am carrying on my right hip." The officer appreciates the honesty. Bob says, "My wallet is in my back pocket. How should I reach for it?" The officer says, "Step out of the car. I'll take the weapon for now." Bob steps out, hands empty. The officer secures the weapon. He writes the ticket for the taillight. He gives the gun back, unloaded, at the end of the stop. Bob goes home to his family. That is the difference between a tragedy and a routine traffic stop. It comes down to communication. It comes down to control, and it comes down to knowing your rights. Remember, the side of the road is not the place to hold court. Be polite, be compliant with physical orders, but remain firm on your rights. If you own a gun, you have a responsibility to be smarter than the average driver. You carry the power of life and death. Act like it. If you found this helpful, do me a favor. Share this with a friend who carries and hit the subscribe button. It might just save their life. Stay safe out there. And remember, I'll see you in next video.